The inevitable has happened. Cole Anthony has reached a buyout with the Memphis Grizzlies. Of course, Cole Anthony coming to the team in the Desmond Bane to Orlando trade that included Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Grizzlies Digest. I'm Tristan Harlen. Excited to be back with you. It's Saturday night, and I had a little bit of plans. If you hear my voice and wondering, hey, man, what's wrong with your voice? It's because I just got done working a baseball game, and they had a little bit of wrestling after the show, and I'm a big wrestling guy, so I like to go cheer for the Heels. But before we begin, I want to remind everybody, 86% of you are not clicking that subscribe button. 14% of you are, and to that 14%, I want to say thank you so much. As you know, we're over the 1,000 subscriber mark. We'd like to see that go to 2,000, and eventually 3,000, 4,000, and so on and so forth. But to that 86% of you guys, I know you're watching these videos. I know you're liking these videos. I know some of you are commenting on these videos, talking about how some of the stuff I say is funny. Some of the stuff I say is kind of asinine and so on and so forth. So if you're watching these videos, if you're commenting on these videos, I want to say thank you so much for interacting. But make sure you're clicking that subscribe button because your number one place to get all Grizzly news, takes, and all that good stuff with unbiased. Well, I'd say biasy because we are a biased channel. We are a Grizzlies Digest channel. But if you want your number one place for Grizzlies content, make sure you're clicking that subscribe button here on Grizzlies Digest. So, as I mentioned, Cole Anthony did agree to reach a buyout. And, of course, it was first reported by our boy Sham, whatever, however you want to pronounce it. I'm going to call him Sham. Cole Anthony agrees to buy out with Memphis, plans to join the Bucks on a one-year deal via ESPN. Now, you may be asking yourself, why in the world is he going to go to the Bucks? Now, let me tell you why he's going to go to the Bucks. 2 words. Giannis Antetokounmpo, okay? Of course, he goes to the Bucks to join Giannis, one of the best scorers in the NBA, one of the best players in the NBA right now. And this is going to give the Bucks that piece that they're going to be missing in Damian Lillard. Now, while Damian Lillard is a better guard than Cole Anthony, I'll say that. It's not going to be the same, but it's going to be a little bit better because a little bit, it's going to be fine for the Bucks because, of course, we're talking about it in my graphic disappeared. But Cole Anthony averaging 9 points a game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 0.5 blocks, 0.7 steals, 1.5 turnovers per game, shooting 42% from the field goal and 35% from the three. Now, this has a lot of hope for the Bucks because this gives them another piece of the offense where they can go and have a little bit more of a score because you're seeing a little bit extra stats on your screen. He shoots 45% on corner threes, 76.6% on all his threes are assisted, 40% of his shots are all threes. Now, why that's great for the Bucks. This isn't Bucks Digest. I'm sure there's a Bucks Digest on YouTube. If you're interested to hear their takes on the matter, go watch that video. But if you want to hear what it means for the Grizzlies, stay right here with your boy. Make sure you're clicking that subscribe button while you're at it. But what this means for the Grizzlies is, we've talked about this before, but now your possible starting lineup looks like Ja Morant, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Jalen Wells, who's balling out in the summer league. Not Jaren Jackson. I'm going to say Jaren Jackson's going to be there for opening night, but I could be wrong. So we're going to keep Jaren there. And Zach Edey, who's out, so we're going to slide Brandon Clark there. If Brandon Clark's not available, then I'm sure Santi Aldama or Jock Landale is going to fill that 5. Now, that's an okay starting lineup for opening night, but it's not going to be one that's going to get you to that 50, 60 game win mark. Now, you're going to need Zach Edey back. You possibly make a move at the deadline, but that's not the time to talk about that. What it is time to talk about is what this Cole Anthony move means for Memphis. Now, I'm just going to go out and flat out say it. Cole Anthony didn't have a spot on this roster. Now, yes, he's a great player. Yes, he's a proven player. But when we just got guys like Ty Jerome and drafted Cedric Coward, have Cam Spencer already, and, Vince Williams Jr. still being on the roster, possibly sliding in a little bit of an oversized guard spot, Jalen Wells being the same deal, Cole Anthony just did not have a designated spot in this roster. Now, while yes, I'd love to see Cole Anthony possibly come back on the roster in 3 to 4 years when Kentavious Caldwell-Pope either leaves Memphis or ends up retiring because he's a little bit up there in age, he could be a solid backup for Cedric Coward. That's implying Ty Jerome also stays to back up Ja Morant. And, of course, Scottie Pippen Jr. being here as well. He could possibly slide to 2, but that's a lot of technical things we're not going to dive into because that's way off in the future and things could go haywire. It could be way different. But anyways, So yeah, what basically this means for Memphis and what this means for the Grizzlies is that it doesn't mean anything for them really. I mean, it doesn't shake up anything. It doesn't change anything because Cole Anthony was reportedly going to be traded on draft night. It did not go well. It did not work because nobody wanted to take on his contract. It came out that Memphis was looking for a suitable team for him to go to get enough back for him. But again, nobody wanted to take on his contract. So eventually, Zach Kleiman and the Grizzlies just bit the bullet and said, hey, we'll just buy you out. We'll give you your money. You can go wherever you want to. Thank you for being a part of the trade or whatnot. I don't know if that's what they said, but he just probably said, hey, buying you out. See you later. But, hey, man, for anybody that bought a Cole Anthony jersey, or the Cole Anthony Memphis jersey, hanging up next to your Allen Iverson Memphis jersey because, hey, that's going to be worth some money. Maybe not a lot of money, but in an obscure NBA jersey contest, it may win you something. Now, of course, Allen Iverson at least played a couple minutes with the Grizzlies in the preseason before he was eventually traded back to Philly. But, again, your obscure NBA jerseys, you can put it right next to a Carmelo Anthony Atlanta Hawks jersey if anybody has one. But, again, this really doesn't mean anything for the Grizzlies. It doesn't change anything because the lineup's going to be the same regardless. Maybe if Cole Anthony's still on this roster, you possibly see him as a backup too if Coward can't go in the first couple weeks of the season, or maybe even backing up Ja or starting over Ty Jerome if Ja is not available to go for the opening night or the opening couple games. God forbid he is, but I just look, here's the hard thing, and I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. Here's the hard thing about talking about this is that as soon as the trade was made, I think the first thing I said to, some of my friends, my colleagues, and my peers were, they're not going to keep Cole Anthony. They're going to trade him, and they're going to move up in the draft to take Cedric Coward. Well, they did move up to select Cedric Coward, but they did not trade Cole Anthony. So then I thought, okay, maybe they move back later in the round and take somebody else because they already had 2 second-round picks. They didn't. They ended up trading. They traded back into the second round to take Meshack, and of course you see what he's doing in the summer league, but I won't bore you guys with another summer league video. But the hardest thing to do is sit here and to tell you what a loss the Grizzlies are going to have with Cole Anthony not on the roster, because I mean, as we've already discussed, 9.4 points a game is great and 18.4 minutes is great, but when you're looking at something like this, as I just not made it go away, where do you put him? I mean, do you not play Vince Williams in the secondary 3 spot? You possibly move Gigi up to play there? Do you possibly start Gigi over Santi at the 4? Do you possibly start Gigi at the 5 over Santi? No, I'd start Santi at the 5, not Gigi. I'd start Gigi at the 4, Santi at the 5. But, with the injuries, you may be looking at a lineup come up in the night of Ja, Contavious, Jalen, Gigi, and Santi. Again, time will tell what's going to happen with the Grizzlies, but I will say this: it was long overdue. Should have happened before now. I mean, I'm sure the reason it happened now instead of prior because they didn't want it to negatively affect the cap. Now I'm sure it's going to affect the cap still in some way, but it's not like there's not like fans of the Grizzlies are going to be burning jerseys or upset or pissed at the GM or the front office for letting Cole Anthony walk, because I mean everybody knew it was coming eventually. So I don't want to sit here and ramble on about it and say, this is a huge loss for the Grizzlies, because in one instance it's not, but one instance you could make an argument for it, but I'm not going to make an argument for it because he didn't fit on the team. I mean, that's all it boils down to. I mean, yeah, you possibly look to have him over maybe a Cam Spencer, but right. You're not here. Here's my honest opinion, and here's my honest take of the situation. And I'm going to say this, and I don't mean to sound rude when I say this. Cole Anthony was making too much money for the Grizzlies to keep him. That's all it boils down to. Yes, technically they paid it all when they bought him out, but would you rather? And let me know what you think in the comments. As an NBA player, would you rather sit on the bench and not get any minutes and get paid as much as Cole Anthony was getting paid, or would you rather go to a contender, who has one of the best scores in the league, and go play in a conference that's going to be the weakest it's probably possibly ever been in the last 5 years, and go chase a ring. Because I mean that's what he's doing. I mean, granted, I would go chase a ring and play with one of the greatest players in the league today, in Giannis Antetokounmpo, but I mean, again, he just didn't have a spot on the roster, brother. I mean, yeah, great player, but where do you play him? But anyways, I'm not gonna ramble on about this much longer. I don't want to bore you guys out and make you guys think I'm stupid or something more than you already do. I do want to remind everybody once again, though, 86% of you, there's no point, it's 0.0. 86% of you guys are not subscribed, so if you like what you see, like what you hear, like talking about the Memphis Grizzlies, hearing about the Grizzlies, tuning in to me, Jared, and everybody else who talks here on this channel, make sure you're clicking that subscribe button, because that helps us out a bunch. It helps you out a bunch coming back to these videos, because if you ever forget the name of the channel, you click the subscribe button, you go to the subscription side of YouTube, boom, it's right there. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this episode of Grizzlies Digest. Again, I do want to apologize for my voice. Watching wrestling is fun, and I like me cheering for the heels. So again, Cole Anthony leaving the Grizzlies is not it's not an organization changing move, but it was one that was long overdue. Anyways, guys, again, hope you enjoyed this video. See you guys next time. Peace.